So you want to travel to every continent. You have 6 left. What 6 are those?
Sure, but the North America.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Puerto Rico, but it's all part of North America. So South America, Antarctica, Africa, Asia, Australia, and would it be the Arctic?
Man, now we're gonna look all dumb on this show.
I'm Googling it right now. Arctic continent. No, it's just I don't know. Someone in the comments will correct us.
That's hilarious. We'll cut this out. Nobody'll hear this.
Welcome to the Braddog Media Show with your host, Brady.
Right, Avery, Romer the Romer Martin. Welcome back to the Braddog Media Show.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Man, I don't have too many recurring guests, but you're back on for a second time, so I'm excited to
I'm honored.
continue.
Give me
chat.
a second chance.
No, it's fun because the last time we kind of laid out the start of your journey and getting into reselling books and, of course, traveling out of your car and all the more foundational parts of your journey. And now it's cool getting an update on you and how you've been building on it in 2020.
100%.
And
the beginning was a grind living in my car. And I feel like last time we talked, it was when I started getting momentum going. And one of the weird things about social media, having social media and having your personal business is these two aren't necessarily super connected. Like your social media can blow up, but then your business could not be. And there's superstars in business whose social media is nothing. Yeah. So my social media was like leaping forward, but my business was getting there, but it wasn't quite there yet. And now my business is caught up, probably more so than my social media.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, that's interesting you bring that up. It's definitely a balance, and it's interesting. It's like you mentioned, there are people with thousands, millions of followers, but it's like worthless. You know,
right.
you have to be more strategic about it. And
put content
this
out morning, my friend and I were on the phone. He's like, "How much do you think your following's worth?" Because he was talking about someone else in the space, and he was like, "They think their following's worth 150,000 each year." And I was like, "You know what? Like, I said, mine's probably not worth that much. Like, probably 20,000." But then I started thinking about it, and my whole business restricted inventory was possible because of social media. So then, if you take that part of it, I'm like, oh shit, then maybe all my worth is from my following. So it's hard to quantify, but if they're real followers, they're definitely more valuable than the fake followers. But I've also changed my perception on the fake followers too. Depends on how you get the fake followers. Because by fake followers, like I mean paid followers. Like I always thought that those weren't valuable, but that's another thing that's changed is I've gotten a lot of paid traffic. And it's not like I pay to have people follow me. I'm paying for ads from my account and people happen to follow me. But I notice a big difference when I spend X amount one day and then X amount another day. If I spend a lot more, I get a lot more followers. So I have gotten followers that way, but I still consider those organic.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I think that's,
like, I'm not paying those random people that slide in the DMs. I'm sure you get those people as well, where they like slide in. They're like, "Hey, like I can help you out. I can get you 10,000 followers, 2 cents a piece."
Oh yeah, those.
There's something weird going on. I don't know how they do it exactly, but
I know all the behind the scenes on that one. So
Gotcha.
The vast majority of the time, you're getting followers from all over the world. They're not targeted whatsoever, and oftentimes it's in like just wherever real estate or accounts is the cheapest. So like India, Brazil.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, I mean, I don't think that would do you much good.
No. I will say I have paid to run ads to Bangladesh or Pakistan somewhere to get likes on a page, which you could argue the ethicalness of that, but they're just cheaper that way. But I don't want to ever inflate my following and it not be real. I don't want to do that.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And the cool thing is with you too, in your following, I feel like your followers are more valuable than the average ones too, because I mean, if you're going to follow Romer, it's for a purpose. You're at least interested, if not already in reselling online or something along the lines of what you're talking about. So people are in that world, and it's such a cool, like, tight niche community. People reselling online.
Yeah, it really is. And restrictedinventory.com has allowed me to do business with hundreds, close to 1,000 of my followers. So for everyone that doesn't know what restricted inventory is, like, I started selling books for people just now listening like a few years ago. And I found out that I could sell textbooks that other people couldn't sell. So it's a pretty simple business. I take other people's textbooks that they can't sell and I sell them for them. And that business just blew up. And now it's from all my followers and, friends of my followers. It's just this whole community, the word spread about my business. And that's really what has paid my bills this last year.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And so for everybody who hasn't heard much from Romer at this point, or you just listen to my show and haven't heard yet, we actually did an interview last year. You can find it on YouTube or on Spotify. That kind of lays out some of the early stuff. The quality's changed. It's a lot better now. So forewarning, it's not as good as it is these days. But that was in the early days of the Braddog Media show. But
a lot of that was my fault because I was in a public space. I was at a Starbucks.
Oh, it's so funny. That was a mess. It's funny how much changes in like a year and a half. But
for real.
But then, speaking of that, since we last talked, it seems like your personal brand and the coaching and really the whole side of things, it's not like you hands-on reselling books, like that whole side of things is totally expanded.
Yeah.
And I love how in your bio on Instagram, you're manifesting your goals. And I love the first one especially, which is to help 100 people quit their jobs. And you have 90 left. So you've already helped 10 people quit their jobs. That's pretty amazing.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a good goal to set because I didn't want to sell courses. I was kind of anti-courses for a while. And but I've paid for information myself, but I just didn't like the idea of courses. And I've always been somewhat money driven. Last year, I think when we talked, my goal was 500,000 for the year. I wanted to reach that sales goal. But when it came to educating people and getting people results, I didn't want to set a sales goal number for that. I wanted to set like an actual, if I truly help 100 people quit their job, I'm going to make a lot of money from that business. Yeah. So I just set that goal and I just have people reach out to me whenever they get full time. And it's very impactful too. Versus every business has impact in its own way, even like funeral homes, grocery stores, but helping somebody like get freedom in their life is very fulfilling. It's more fulfilling than the actual book business, which helps get books back into readers' hands. That is fulfilling as well, but actually helping people like get results in their life financially is huge.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. So
yeah,
I imagine that's such a rush getting that text message that somebody quit their job because of you. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is. And I know how much hard work and a little bit of luck and perseverance goes into it. So it's no small feat to quit your job. I respect everybody in this space. I don't care what you do. I don't care if it's drop shipping, podcast, whatever it is. If you're able to do that full time and not work a job, like that is, you have my respect because I know how hard it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's so cool thinking back. Like you've put in the sweat equity, not just like I'm talking literal sweat equity into this. So I imagine you don't miss dealing with the griminess of books on as much of a day-to-day basis.
It actually, that's interesting you say that because it's addicting. Like I was driving yesterday and I was driving past an area where I knew there was good books. And it was very hard not to go into the stores because the apps are kind of addictive. Like this app that I use called Scout IQ, it tells you how much profit each book is. Let's see if I have a book around here. 12 months to 1 million. But being in the store, listening to podcasts and like seeing $10 profit come across the screen, you guys see that?
Yep.
That was just like, it's still addicting. I'm not just saying this because like I teach it. Like I'm actually like, it's seriously like I get a rush from that. Like the rush from that, it's hard to match that when I scan a book and I'm like, holy shit, this is $100 profit. So I hated listening to books. I always hated that because the profit was already there. Like I already had the profit. Why do I have to touch it again? So when I lived at my parents' house, I hired my first employee to list books for me. That was one of the biggest business lessons I learned, was hire somebody else to do stuff you don't want to do. I do not miss that part. I don't miss the storage unit. I don't miss moving pallets of books in and out of storage unit. I don't miss that stuff at all, but I do miss like the actual thrill of the hunt.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's like an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
And
have you done the books? Have you scanned?
Yeah, I have a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, I'm familiar with Scout IQ and all of that. I explored it a little bit a couple years back just to make some extra money, and it is a little bit addicting. Like you never know you're going to come across a book that's going to make you $20, $50, and it's crazy.
Right. Yeah, it is, and it's addicting. It's fun.
Oh yeah.
I think there was a point in time where I was kind of transitioning away from physically going out and finding books to where I knew I had something with my personal brand. And I also knew that I needed to focus on the business side of things, because I landed a deal with a college that they brought me in $15,000 so far. So if I can focus on more book deals with schools, libraries, resellers, in my case, my unique case of restrictedinventory.com, like I knew if I would focus on getting books to come to me that way, instead of physically going out and finding them, I could build a scalable business. And so there was a time where it's like, do I want to sit down on the laptop and focus for 4 hours and maybe land a deal, or maybe build some type of system to bring books to me? Or do I just want to go out and fucking find books? Like, what do I want to do? And at the end of the day, I was paying rent. I think it was like $1,300, which was a ton for me at the time because I just moved out of my parents' house. And it's my first time ever paying rent. I was like, shit, like I have to pay rent. I got bills to pay at the end of the month. And it felt much more real to go out and find books than it did to stay home and be on the laptop, working systems out and working deals out. But I knew that's where the future was.
Yeah, that's where the long-term big money is. And it's about like making that quick buck, or wanting to put in the time and effort for the long-term and the growth opportunities. So it kind of depends on the situation.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and that reminds me, that was a big talking point last time we spoke. And I know you were talking about putting some of these deals in place. So is that where the vast majority of your inventory and for your business side is coming in now, through some bigger relationships?
So I started landing deals with colleges, and a lot of them were like liquidation type deals, early 2019. That's where a lot of my energy was going, like networking, meeting with other resellers who needed help. Maybe they knew about a bookstore that closed down, or maybe they knew about a big source of inventory and I could go to it. That was early 2019. And then I just knew from like studying like the top dogs in the game, like Better World Books, Discover Books, Thrift Books. Like these are some of the top 50 Amazon sellers. A couple of those guys I think made it to top 10 Amazon sellers. I was just looking at what are they doing and how can I do that? Because they're not going out to thrift stores scanning books. Like that's just the beginning. And so I started, throwing different darts at different things I thought might work. But what really worked was getting inventory from the reselling community, restrictedinventory.com. And it was a blue ocean, meaning nobody else could do it. There wasn't any competition at the time. Now I do have some competition. There's like 4 guys that came up because they saw my business model was working.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was very public about it, and 4 people instantly spawned their consignment services with different perks. But yeah, that's what worked for me. I hustled so many different directions, and then this is the one that came back to me. Like there was a lot of other good stuff, Like I could have focused more on B2B, but it worked much better working. I guess I'm still B2B in a way because I'm working with all the resellers, but it was much better to deal with my audience, something I grew. I already had this. So why not nurture it? Why not milk it and do business with my following and see if they trust me enough to pay them for their inventory? And it's been awesome. There have been some hiccups. You know, some people have been pissed. Some inventory has been lost. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, we definitely had our growth
Nothing's
period.
Perfect.
But to be able to have people trust me like that and do business, I feel like it allows me to engage with my following like on a deeper level.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And I mean, now it kind of works more hand in hand with your goal of helping people quit their jobs too. So that's a pretty cool aspect.
Yes. And it incentivizes me in a selfish way to actually want their success. So like, I can say I want their success without me getting anything. I can truly say that. But for me to get something on top of it, for me to get, I know they're going to find textbooks eventually that they're going to send to my service. It kind of protects it and keeps it pure because I actually am going to give them like the best advice possible, you know, even on a selfish day. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So I'd love to get into the coaching aspect a little bit more. So getting into book selling, like, period, is pretty easy to do, but then being able to make enough money to actually quit your job is like a whole other thing.
Yes.
So kind of a high level overview. I'm curious what steps somebody needs to take to actually make enough money to quit their job. Do they need to start outsourcing and utilizing some of those things, or can they do it on their own? Like, what does that look like?
So I recommend starting on the side, going to like the lowest hanging fruit places. So go to the thrift stores, the libraries, even the college campuses. Like, these are all very low hanging fruit. If you're in the Northeast right now, I know a lot of places are closed down, like Philly is closing down, like libraries right now. But every city should have those theoretically in a world without the pandemic. But even with the pandemic going on, there's Facebook Marketplace, there's Craigslist, and there's Nextdoor. Nextdoor has been insane. Like, my students are absolutely crushing it. And I keep using this term because I read the book Blue Ocean recently, but it is a blue ocean. There's so much opportunity posting on these apps because what are the chances that there's another bookseller in your zip code posting on this app regularly every single week? Like, the chance is very slim. And if there is, just do better than them, offer more value somehow, find other, like, what are the chances he's using all three apps? You know, the chances that people in Miami or whatever zip code you're in know about book selling is probably pretty high. There's lots of views on YouTube. There's a lot of people doing this, but the chance that they're like taking massive action weekly on a weekly basis, it's pretty slim. So I say that just to put out there that the market is not oversaturated. There's a lot of people hungrier now, wanting to make more money, going to the thrift stores, going to libraries, using those other three methods to get books directly from people's shelves. But that's just scratching the surface. Like, that's the very bottom level. Like, and anybody can do that like this weekend and make hundreds of dollars profit. But to answer your question, to take it to the next level and go full time, you could go full time just using the first techniques. But the problem with that, and I never really liked it when people would kind of tease you with going full time with those techniques, because it's a grind, it's a hustle, and to do that forever is, in my opinion, not feasible. You know, so in my opinion, and this is what I teach in my course, I'm not even pitching my course right now. I have free content that goes over this as well. I teach to build a scalable business by focusing on relationships, which kind of circles back to what I was saying earlier. Like, early 2019, I was debating, is my time better spent on the laptop, or is it better spent going out finding physical books that are going to make me money? And so then I think every business deals with that at some point. It's like, are you going to focus on creating systems? And you got to make sure you're focusing on creating the right systems. And really, the systems you should be focusing on starting out is getting the books. So where can you get more of these books? And where can you get replenishable inventory, meaning inventory that can come to you over and over again? And really, how can you create a brand for your book business to where you have books coming to you, and this brand represents something bigger, whether that's free book pickups, whether you're modeling 1-800-GOT-JUNK, your free book pickup service. Lots of my students do that. Or maybe you just landed a sick deal with a couple thrift stores and you're buying books in bulk from them. That's probably the majority of my students do that, where they just have a couple thrift stores they work with. They get truckloads of books, and that's how they make all their money. Or you could go the route that I went, and a couple of my mentors have gone this route, where you build a brand and you have books come to you that are pre-sorted. So everything with restricted inventory, every book that we receive is profitable. We don't deal with any non-profitable books. And there's other ways to do this as well. You can get, thrift stores or college campuses to put donation bins out and get higher at a college campus. All the inventory you get is probably going to be higher level because it's textbooks in their recent textbooks. But you could even have the college campus or the thrift store scan the stuff for you, pack them up in a box and ship them to you. And that takes more effort, more work, more sales, just more of like a business mind to do. But there's levels to it, and to get full time, you certainly can do it with the hustle side of things, but you're going to have much more success if you build some sort of brand. And then with that brand, you have systems in place to find the books, list the books, and then price the books. And listing the books and pricing the books is that's the easy part. You don't have to worry about that. You can look at YouTube videos. You can do whatever you want to learn those two systems, like listing and pricing. But where the money's at is how do you get the books?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And man, building relationships, building brand, those are huge things. And it's cool because that applies like anything you do.
Yes. Yeah. So, and in the reselling space, even retail arbitrage people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Retail arbitrage booksellers, they neglect, private label and wholesalers don't neglect this, but the resellers in general, whether it's retail arbitrage or bookselling, they neglect the brand aspect of it. And I think it's because it's so easy. Especially some retail arbitrage people are selling $1 million a year and they don't have a brand at all. They don't have a business they could sell, but they're selling $1 million a year. They're making decent money. That's not appealing to me. What's appealing to me is, do I have a business that is working in my absence? And do I have a business that I could eventually sell?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it starts with brands. You gotta build up your brand to get to that point. And so I don't know if you happen to know this off the top of your head or if there's kind of an average time span, but how long would you say would it take, or at least the shortest amount of time possible, for somebody to start book selling and be able to make a full-time income off of it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say, I'm actually going to pull my calculator out here. It's about getting your inventory up. So let's say, because 2,000 is kind of the magic number. Let's say you get to 2,000 in inventory. You generally sell about 20% each month. That would be 400 books a month. My average student has a $10 profit per book. So that would be $4K each month. That would be what, 60,000 a year?
48.
Or 48,000. I don't know why I said 60. Yeah. So that would be 48,000 a year. So, but in business, I always use this analogy. If you're going camping, you want to make sure that you get enough sticks, not just for the next hour, but for all night long.
Yeah. And
so a general rule of thumb is you get 10 times as many sticks as you think you'll need, because you'll burn through that shit so fast. So it's kind of the same thing in business. You can't just say, okay, if I sell 400 books each month, I'm good. Because if you make 48,000 a year salary is much different than 48,000 a year net profit in a business. Those are two very different things. They may look the same, and when the year is done with, if you truly make 48,000 in your business, net profit after, let's say you did 100K in sales, but 48,000 is what you actually made. That's very different, because it can change so fast. Next year you might not have that good of a textbook season, or your Amazon account might shut down for 2 months, or your employee might leave, or something else might happen, where with the solid paycheck you get from a job, I'm not trying to build jobs up by any means, but I'm sure you felt this before, where it's just what do you make money from doing an online business, or are you just doing this podcast on the side?
No, yeah. So I have digital marketing clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you felt this before where you're just like, oh my gosh, I wish I had a job. I just
Yeah.
want that paycheck, because you work so hard and then sometimes you're not going to make any money.
True.
Like
Yeah.
that just happens sometimes. So, and then you're envious of a job, which deep down you don't want, but like sometimes that paycheck looks nice. It's just like, man, you get that paycheck every week. And, my employees, they all get their paychecks every single week, regardless of how the business is doing. They're getting paid because they put the work in. So, forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah. The to go full time. So that being said, how quickly can you get your inventory up to 2,000 and keep it there? I have some students right now that they shipped out. I think they're already close to 2,000 in inventory, and they're like 2.5 months in.
Wow. That's
so
quick.
depending on how much money they want to make each year, they're pretty close to that full-time threshold. But I'd say between like 2,000 and 5,000 units of good inventory is enough to go full-time. So just divide that, once you reach that, if you source, 500 or 600 units each month, that's going to be enough to keep that sell-through rate at 400, which would be 4,000 profit. So yeah, you just got to set the number, find out how many you have to source each week, and just keep sourcing that. So it's about getting that inventory up fast. So, I mean, I'd say if you're super ambitious, probably a few months, like maybe 3 months earliest, but it's going to take some time. Like you have to get that inventory up.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, it would take a lot of work, but it's crazy that it's possible at least to get it in a few months.
Yeah.
And
especially if you keep your inventory costs low, like there's so many ways to get books for free.
Oh yeah.
You could post on Nextdoor, like, hey, I'll pick up your books at no charge, and frame yourself as like a 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So you could source all your inventory for free. So everything you get is 100% profit. And that's exciting. Like, I don't think I gave that enough respect starting out, because I was just like, paying $1 for a book, it's nothing. But when you pay $1 for each book and you're sourcing thousands each month, that becomes a pretty big expense.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. So what has 2020 been like for reselling? Is it changed the landscape a little bit, I would imagine?
Yeah, it has. So online sales have increased 4x.
Wow.
Just compared to, I think before 12% of consumer sales were, and somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Do we have a comment section somewhere?
Oh yeah, on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, this will be on YouTube.
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But 12% of sales used to be from the internet, but now 52% are from the internet. That's almost a 5x increase in online sales. So there's a lot more attention online. Like people who weren't customers before now are. So everybody in e-commerce, even in the print book market, which a lot of people think is dying, but over the last 5 years, there's been an increase in the number of physical books sold, which is crazy. Like it's hard for me to even believe that. I'm in this business, but there's been an increase in print book sales. So it's going up. Amazon sales increased from 38% to 60% of the online marketplace. So before they made up 38%, but now they make up 60%. So all that to be said, all that to say that there's so much more attention online and so many more sales from the customer on Amazon. So I've definitely seen a spike. It actually took me a while to see a spike because my business sells mainly textbooks. So I see my spike in August and January. But Amazon Lit, did you interview them? Amazon Lit?
No, I haven't yet.
You should interview them. But they instantly saw the increase, like when quarantine happened.
Crazy.
Like their sales doubled. Some of my mentors who sell a lot more, they just saw rapid increases in sales. Like a lot of my students and retail arbitrage people in the community, they just saw like crazy increases in sales. My textbook season was still good. We still did 100K this last textbook season. So there was a lot. The consumer was there, but it was the sourcing and actually shipping stuff to Amazon was a little bit difficult because for March and April, I know for those 2 months, we couldn't ship Amazon FBA. So for anyone listening that doesn't know what FBA is, you pack your items in a box and ship them to Amazon and let them take the items out of the box, put them on the shelves, and sell them to the customer. So they just weren't checking in shipments. They weren't allowing you to ship stuff in for a long time. And that part of it, like, that hurt because but at the same time, the online sales were skyrocketing. So it was like they couldn't accept shipments because they were focusing on essentials, but there was so much more attention online. So I didn't notice a whole bunch because maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because my inventory was low, and maybe it's because a lot of my inventory was textbooks, but a lot of my friends were just like, wow, like, I'm seeing a rapid increase in sales. But again, like, August was fine. I capitalized there.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. That's kind of what I pictured. So like selling wasn't a problem, but restocking the shelves was a little tricky.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year for everything and everybody working jobs in person. I mean, I'm obviously fortunate I can work from the home office here, but man, I mean, with all the stores closed, I imagine it was tough for a lot of people to find things to resell.
Yeah, I noticed, because restricted inventory, most of the people that send inventory there are sourcing from thrift stores and libraries. And just for a while, we got nothing. There's a period where just nothing came through. But it helped my course sales too, because now people want to learn how to do this. People who were never interested in making money online are like, okay, I couldn't go to work because this world would not allow me to. So now they're a little bit more interested in how to make money online.
Oh, I can imagine. So we went over your first goal that you have on Instagram, to coach 100 people to quit their jobs. Number 2 sounds pretty amazing. So you want to travel to every continent. You have 6 left. What 6 are those?
Everywhere but the North America.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Puerto Rico, but it's all part of North America. So South America, Antarctica, Africa, Asia, Australia, and would it be the Arctic? Or is that, I think the Arctic's one. So
yeah, I believe so.
You got North America, which I've already been to, but then South America, Antarctica, Africa, Asia, Europe. I didn't say Europe, and then Australia. So yeah.
Man, now
I don't know who owns the Arctic then, because that's 7 right there. I don't think it's.
I believe. Man, now we're gonna look all dumb on this show.
Yeah, I feel like
I forgot how many continents there were, and I asked you.
I've had this conversation before, but it was with my friend in private, so I didn't feel as silly. Now I'm just like, shit.
Anyways, we'll cut this out. Nobody will hear this.
I'm googling it right now. Arctic continent. No, it's just, I don't know. Someone in the comments will correct us. I know one of the cold places is divided up equally among all the countries, or most of the countries in the world. It's like a pie, and they give like a slice to each country. Yeah. I know Antarctica is like that.
Yeah, Antarctica's like that. It's this weird.
It's not saying Arctic. It's saying Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. So maybe it's because it's ice and it's going to melt eventually.
Oh, that's so funny, man. So you've traveled so much, but I guess it's all been across the United States and Mexico.
It's all been, So I was like, why not start with my own country? Like, I don't want to go travel the world and not know my own country. So, I started doing that, living in my car 2018. That was so much fun. I just took out the front seats of my car, put down a wrestling mat, traveled out to California, went to the Grand Canyon, went to Yosemite. California is amazing. The desert. Went north up to Oregon. I saw a lot of the Western United States, that was so much fun. And I did it all like dirt cheap. Like, I was spending maybe a little bit over $1,000, but it's because I was buying inventory. Like, my living cost. I wish I would have like done a better job of tracking it, but I want to say they were like $500-600 a month. Like, I was spending probably too much money on food, but that food and gas was my only expense.
It's crazy. It'd be cool if you had the thought at the time to like put more toward the content of it and actually record all of that.
Exactly.
How valuable would that be now?
Right. And I did record. I'm actually going to meet with my video guy and tell him to recycle a lot of that content. I just didn't have a following at all.
Mm.
So like I would post on YouTube and I would get like 30 views, and then I'd post again, get 8 views. Like it was just like, but I didn't really care that much. But there's definitely, it's way more fun to post content when people engage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Man, so it's going to be a little trickier getting to these other countries. And your, I believe it was a Toyota Camry. It's going to be tough getting
Corolla.
to Europe. A Corolla, right? It's going to be tough.
I'm not taking that. I've thought about driving it to South America.
Could you imagine taking it all the way down?
It wouldn't be worth it though. It's getting old. It's got 250,000 miles on it.
So you still have it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Is that your main daily driver still?
Yeah, that is. I have the canoe on top. I tell myself I'm not going to invest in another vehicle until I have like 5x what I would spend on a vehicle in my retirement savings. Because I think buying a vehicle is kind of silly. Like the place I live in, like this is super nice. Like I'm in this apartment that, you know, this was a stretch to move in here. Like I'm paying $2,000 a month for this, which a lot of people would say that that's silly. Which I would agree with. But the thing is, I'm living with my business partner / mentor. So it made sense for me to put that expense down to move here. Plus, at the time when I moved, I was like so Dan Peña'd out. You know Dan Peña?
Oh, yeah, Dan Pena. Yeah.
Dan
He's
Peña,
crazy, man.
He's insane. But like I was going through like a Dan Peña phase. I was like, he's talking about how like you have to raise your life standards in order to raise your business, which I do think a lot of that is true, but I think a lot of it's bullshit now. Now that I've done it, I'm like, okay, like it's really what's valuable is like who are you around and where is your head at and what do you think is possible? Like those, and if you have to splurge on something to make yourself emotionally feel that way and emotionally comfortable scaling your business or upgrading your lifestyle, then do it. But I think the idea of getting like a super nice car to me, it's like idiotic to if you don't have savings, if you have any debt, if you're complaining about where you live, if you're complaining about any finances, like a car, my car is fine. Toyota Corolla, it's got air conditioning. It can drive across the fucking country. I lived in the damn thing. It rains outside. I don't get wet. It's like better than any TP that an Indian could have built, better than any structure that anybody could have built like before the 1700s, like to live in. Like it's windproof. It can put a fucking boat on top of it. Like I just,
sure
and so I know it's not the coolest thing. Like when I pick a girl up on a Bumble date or a Tinder date, I know she's like, what the fuck am I getting into? But I'm not going to cave in and give in just because it's a shitty car. It is a fine car. And there's lots of memories attached to it as well.
Oh yeah. You can't ever get rid of that thing. Even when you get an upgraded car, just keep it. Just let it sit in the yard.
Exactly.
No, that's interesting too. Thinking of like Dan Pena and some of these people. I know like Grant Cardone kind of has this mindset where it's like some of these people, they say like spend all the money you want and then it'll drive you to earn more money. But it's like,
does Grant Cardone say that?
No. He says things along those lines, I believe. Like when people
he's calling other people out, or he's saying it himself.
Well, he says it. So what he says is, you don't have a spending problem, you have an income problem. That's like his main line. Like,
gotcha.
People call him in. I don't know.
That's interesting because actually,
make more money. But
it's funny you mentioned Grant Cardone because he's actually kind of. Because I started flipping my opinion of it recently. I'll go back and forth on this probably over the next few years, but I think I'm kind of settled more on like the practical side of things. I think there's other ways to raise your emotional comfortability with money other than spending a shit ton of it. But
I agree.
Spending a lot of money and raising your standard. Tony Robbins talks about this. He doesn't talk about like money with money necessarily, but if you raise your standard, like if you're used to hot showers, like that's going to be your standard. You're not going to get a place with a cold shower. If, driving X car is your standard, you're going to find a way to keep it. If living in a house is your standard, you're going to find a way to keep that. So your brain operates differently when you know you have to earn a certain amount of income, when you know that your rent depends on it. And I think that's how restricted inventory came to be, because I was like, shit, like I'm spending so much money, even though I'm only paying $1 per book, I'm spending so much money. It'd be nice if I got everything for free. And so I found a way, I didn't even like pursue it, but it kind of fell in my lap, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. Let me do this instead. But what Grant Cardone said is, have you seen a show where he like makes fun of people who come on like they try to do sales and he shits on them?
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
So somebody was wearing like a super nice, or it wasn't even a really nice suit, but it was you could tell he spent money on it. And Grant Cardone was like, how much you spend on that suit? And he was like, $800, like all proud. He's like, how much money you got in your pocket right now? And he's like, 500. And he's like, how much money you got in your bank account? And he's like, less than that. He's like, you spent half of your savings on a fucking suit. You're an idiot. So I like that philosophy where it's like don't spend half of your savings on a car or a suit or something arbitrary like that. But, like what I'm doing right now, like living with my roommate or even like moving to a big city for opportunity, that's different because I'm putting myself in the position. You could even say living at this bougie ass place I live at, I'm going to be surrounded by people who are more successful, and that could lead to something else. It's a whole argument of sitting first class, which I don't even buy that. But people say sit first class, you're going to sit next to somebody who's successful, and then that could lead to whatever. But that's true with everything you do. Every time you step outside the door, it's just like, where are you stepping outside of? Like, you making this content right now is like the 2020 version of stepping outside the door, because now so many people are going to watch this. Some people are going to resonate with this on a different level, and they'll reach out to me like, yo, Brad, like I really enjoy your podcast. Like, would you like to do this? Would you like to do that? And like different business opportunities are going to fall because of that. So there is an argument for putting yourself in the position to be more to being around people who are more successful. And there's also the argument for raising your emotional comfortability with a certain level of income. But I don't know the exact science behind it. I don't know how true it is because I've never cared about cars either. So I don't know. I think maybe it might help somebody who really likes cars, if they have a nice car, to like raise their standard. But for me, like I really cared more about lawnmowers growing up. Like lawnmowers were so much cooler to me. Like I wanted the Skag. I wanted, the zero turn. Like, that's what I cared about. I didn't give a fuck about the car. So I don't think it would give me the emotional spike that it gives other people. Like I think some people, a nice car is really nice, but some people a nice place or a nice house, or for me, it's travel. Like I love traveling. Like that makes me feel like the shit. Like if I'm at a party, I'm talking to a girl, like what's going to make me feel proud is me talking about how I traveled everywhere. I'm not going to feel cool talking about my car,
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's just whatever works for you, and you have to find it and go with it. Like, I know for me, it is more of putting myself in the right kind of crowds and stepping up my, like, I guess my game, just being around people who have done it for a long time. And they see like their business and entrepreneurship is like, ain't no thing at this point.
Yeah.
So,
and there's something about being around that attitude of like, you can hear how different people talk about money. Like my friends back home talk about money very differently than the friends that I've surrounded myself with now. And just hearing those like subtle differences, like you were saying, that attitude, like it's not a big deal, because you think it's like the biggest deal in the world at the time. You're like, oh my gosh, like it's no big deal for him. Like, wow, like this really is possible.
Yeah, totally. And it's just like, and that's another big part of it too, is just like changing your belief system and just like willing things into existence, which, kind of goes back to the manifesting thing. But, you have to believe in yourself and like truly believe it. And otherwise, I mean,
and maybe you won't truly believe it if it's too far out of your spectrum or comfort zone or reality. Like if you just never think it could be real, like if you're talking about living in a super nice place one day, but you've never actually done it, maybe your brain doesn't even believe you could do it. Right. So there is that argument.
Yeah. But if you surround yourself in that circle though of other people that have done it, and you kind of see it and you're like, oh, well, they did it, they're not any more special than me. And then it helps you visualize it a little more from what I found.
I used to get intimidated by being around like super wealthy people.
Really?
Yeah. Like it would make me feel uncomfortable, especially like, I don't know, I was wearing like regular ass clothes and driving my regular ass car. But now I live in this building, like Mark Anthony used to live here. Like this is a nice building. And it took me out of my comfort zone, just like walking the halls here. I was like, holy shit, like I don't belong here. But maybe I'm like living proof that works, like potentially, because now I've paid off like most of my debt this year and I like doubled my rent. So who knows?
Yeah.
But if you never had that mental, I don't think everybody has that, where they give like that much respect. I don't know if it's respect, but like it made me uncomfortable being around wealthy people. Not everybody has that, but I think if you do have something that makes you uncomfortable or fearful, you need to smash that. And so that's why like I was comfortable, not comfortable, but open to dealing with that discomfort and getting over it. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. And it's just like, sometimes at first you almost just have to put yourself through the motions. Like, it can make yourself uncomfortable. It's just like, be robotic about it and just do it. And then you do it a few times.
It's the same reason why I lived in the car. Like I knew it was going to make me uncomfortable on a completely different level. I know physically and emotionally, like fucking sleeping in a Walmart parking lot was going to make me uncomfortable. Like it was hard. So like I look at these things as like the same exact thing. It's just me being uncomfortable, my brain not realizing I can do it. And then I put myself in a situation where I realize, oh, I can do it.
And the ultimate skill set is being comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
After doing all these different things and trying out new weird situations, eventually like stepping into a weird circumstance just becomes normal, which is like the ultimate power.
It's interesting because you know David Goggins?
Yeah.
He's all about like physical discomfort. And I used to listen to David Goggins and like go salsa dancing. And I get myself pumped up and like, I really don't want to do this right now. I really don't want to do this. I don't want to dance. Like my white ass does not want to dance right now. I feel so embarrassed. And I'll just do it because it made me feel uncomfortable. But now it doesn't. Like rarely do I feel uncomfortable dancing. So there's things in like living here. Like I walk down the halls now. I don't care. Like people don't intimidate me here, at least. Like maybe I could go to like $1 million yacht or $1 billion place and be intimidated again. Then I would have to smash that fear. But there's certain fears that go away and certain types of uncomfort that go away. But what I like about what David Goggins talks about is like, cold always sucks. Cold showers, cold bath, no matter what, they always suck. Like you never get comfortable with that. Like you said, you got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, but you never get comfortable with it. I truly can say I'm comfortable with salsa dancing. I can truly say I'm comfortable being around rich ass people, but running still sucks. Push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, they still fucking suck. And I've wrestled for, 12 plus years now, and wrestling still sucks. It's physical pain. So I think there's levels to it, but going back to like the physical aspect of it is beneficial because the suck will always be there. And if there's a level of discomfort in business or your social life or like those other areas I mentioned, like salsa dancing, it's probably because of like an insecurity you have. So you have to like expose the insecurity in order to become comfortable with it. Whereas the discomfort of physical pain always is there. So it's like a baseline. Like you can always go back to that. You can always go back to that suck.
Yeah.
But like for personal development, you have to pursue different types of suck, and eventually the suck doesn't suck anymore.
Yeah. No, that's true. And it's funny too, because I feel like going through some physical suck sometimes, like whether it be fitness or something, that cold showers, whatever, that's grueling, man, anything else, I feel like isn't so bad. I mean, I grew up playing competitive sports, and I remember from a young age getting like cussed out and told to like run till I'm about to pass out at like 10 years old. So, it thickens your skin a little bit, and you're willing to take some more criticism and whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Dan Gable, he's a wrestler. arguably the best wrestler ever. He says, once you wrestle, everything else in life is easy. And I think you could replace that with once you experience true physical pain on a daily basis for an extended amount of time, every other venture becomes easy.
Yeah. No,
and at the time, there might be
that.
like something might look like it sucks just as much, like opening that business or taking that gut punch loss in your business or dancing, whatever it is. It may seem just as bad, and it may like emotionally like hurt you just as bad too. But over time, you will get over that, and you'll get more comfortable.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's an interesting thing, but especially like, man, it's intimidating going out and trying a new venture for yourself, whatever it may be. But
yeah,
man, it's valuable once you just get comfortable in those uncomfortable situations, and
definitely
you get used to going out and trying it.
Right.
And so another like last thing I'd like to talk about. So you're a big content creator these days. I see things you're putting on YouTube and all across social media. What's like the ultimate goal of your content? Is it more on the educational side, entertainment side? Like, how do you go about the content creation process?
It's a mixture. I'd say it's 70% educational. Depends on what platform we're talking about, but YouTube is definitely more educational. But there's also got to be that entertainment aspect to it. I'm a huge Gary Vee fan. Like, he is the reason why I started posting and how I started posting. And he just talks about document your journey. Like, that's it. Literally take your camera out and record what is. And that's what I try and do. And then I fine tune it and I ask my audience, what do you guys want? So there's a little bit of like catering to what my audience actually wants. But then there's a lot of, and this is a content I'll always produce, just what is going on in my life and what do I want to do. And sometimes people don't resonate with it that much. Sometimes people love it. You know, it's going to change over the years. Like, once I reach 100 full-time Amazon sellers, like, probably move on to something else. But right now, that's like the core focus of all my content is how can I help as many people as possible? And also, how can I document my life as accurately as possible, like the way it really is? Because you know how it is. Like, you make a YouTube video and all of a sudden you start talking like, hey, what's going on, guys? Oh, la, 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 la. And like, you know, like, it's not the most authentic. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's probably more entertaining to listen to me in that state than like how I'm talking right now. But I do want to document what actually is. So I don't want to always just be like a presenter, a teacher. And I don't think anything's wrong with that necessarily. Cause like there is like that's the reason why newscasters talk the way they do, you know, like they're like, so like, and the weather today is like, they're always changing their voice. Cause like they're trying to make people pay attention as long as possible. So like, you want to definitely be entertaining, but I want to also make sure that I'm documenting what is actually going on in my business. So, you know, 60 years or 40 years down the road, I can actually look back, and when I'm looking at my phone or whatever I have, my hologram, 40 years down the road, I can actually say like, wow, like that's what I was doing. And I'm not going to be looking at myself like he's just fucking fronting. Like, he's just like, he's trying to do this to sell a course, or he's trying to do this to, I don't want to see that piece of content and think that like down the road. So I want to actually document and be like, wow, like I was really thinking that way back then. Like, that's fascinating. Or why was I thinking that way? You know? And like, so if I can put my thoughts out there, and I also have a rule now where I don't complain on social media anymore. I posted, I think it was a little bit over a year ago. I posted something like where I think I said like, it was something along the lines of like, I'm sad, you know, like, I don't feel the best today. And I got like so much fucking engagement on that post. And I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm not going to reward my brain for complaining on social media. And I'm also making other people's lives worse. And I'm also making me believe that maybe what I said was true. So I have a rule where I know that could distort what reality is, but there's reality, and then there's your interpretation of what's going on. And you could argue that your interpretation of what's going on is your reality for the situation. But you can always put a positive spin on things, or you can always look, you could always look like things are going to be better in the future, and they're not. And like, I'm not going to post content like, oh, I'm so sorry for myself, or I'm just like, I'm not even going to post content of like, I'm fucking like sad. Like, and if I say I'm sad, I'm going to say like, I'm going to fix this, you know. I just don't think it's healthy, because the way the brain works is, you know, from a Pavlovian perspective, like you are trained to act a certain way, and these apps are training us. Instagram, YouTube, you know, like, and so if Braddog is posting about how he's mad all the time, then you're more likely to post that mad content. If people, like, if you get 5x engagement with that, your brain's going to go, oh, we got to post more of this. We got to post more, you know? So even though I got like a very positive response from my negative content, I want to make sure I steer away from that. So mainly educational content now on YouTube, probably 50-50 on Instagram. Probably TikTok is like all entertainment, but it's also education. So I always have the incentive on TikTok to, or my goal on TikTok is to educate them, build an audience, and then get them to my free training, because TikTok's so short. It's like 15 to 60 seconds with like fucking music in the background. So it's like very hard for them to get to know me. So I invite them to a free training I have. And part of signing up for the free training is they'll get in my Facebook group. So I have this funnel set up to where I invite them to the free training, which is an awesome free training. And then they get in the Facebook group, and then they'll be on my email list. They'll get pitched my YouTube channel. And then there's no Instagram there, but maybe they'll find me on Instagram from it. So
yeah, no, definitely. It's interesting. And I have a funnel too to get into my group. So if either of you are interested in the Brand Building Academy or Romer's group, it's in the bio. So everybody go check that out.
What is the Brand Building Academy?
Yeah. So and it's really interesting, and you've built a great Facebook group. So definitely take some pointers from you on how to develop that a little more. But it's really just giving people an inside look, basically like on my side of things and the brains behind building a brand, and then being able to grow a brand. So I give a little bit of insider tips and things that I don't usually share like completely openly. Not that I wouldn't, but it's
more
just
intimate
for people. Yeah, exactly. And I get into the weeds and into those details of building a brand. So it's definitely for the people super interested in that side of things.
Sweet. Yeah, my Facebook group has exploded recently. A lot of it's because of paid traffic. We're running a lot of Facebook ads, and same exact funnel, like I said, like we get them to sign up for the free training, and then boom, if they want the free book, they have to go on Facebook, and then they get in a messenger bot where the messenger it messages them like, hey, look, here's our free Facebook group. You want to join this? So we get a lot of people into the Facebook group that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So everybody go check out Romer, see everything he's up to. And we just referred to his content, but where's you at? Where can people go follow you at?
Romer the Romer. I just realized I have Romer Martin LLC on the screen, but it's ROMER, like you see on the screen right now. The Romer. That's Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything. I'm probably on Tumblr. I never use it. I am on Twitter. Never use that either, but I'm on LinkedIn as well as Avery Romer Martin. I should probably make a LinkedIn for Romer the Romer and just post stuff on there and see how it goes.
Yeah, you might as well. You make the content anyway. So
yeah, exactly. But yeah, awesome. That's it.
Hey, appreciate you, man. It's been great catching up. You're off and doing amazing things this year, so it's cool to get some more details on it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.